Teach me to welcome deep slumber and stillness, to slow down enough to really rest and rejuvenate. Teach me to conserve my energy and resources, to honor the importance of hibernation. Teach me to get down, to go deep, to focus on what is essential, what lies at the core of me. Yes.
Could you start at the top again?
At the very beginning?
I didn't have, yes. Please
Okay.
introduce again. I had your mic turned off for just a few minutes. Please start again.
Okay. Welcome, you guys. This is Holly with Wild Blessings. This is Teaching Tuesday, January the 10th of 2023. I'm so happy that you've joined me. Welcome all my new members. I have got, let's see, Emily and Tommy and Sue and Carly and Sheila, Carol, Jenny, Melissa, Dara, and John and Tisha. So those are the newest people to join us. I'm so glad you're here. If you are here, please comment. Every quarter, I give out a gift bag, and I gave out a winter gift bag already at Christmas time, which was full of some wild treasures each week. So right now, the bag only has in it something from last week's class, which was about the healing oils in the life of Jesus Christ. So if you want to watch that class and comment, that would be great. And so there's cedar wood in there for that. And then I've got a maple spile for this class because we're talking a little bit about maple in this class. Okay, so I always begin every class with herbing around. So my herbing around this time is I have been collecting a lot of branches and twigs and saplings. And so I've been cutting them a certain size. And you can use this for popsicles if it's an edible tree, but I'm using these for simple decorations. I'm making them all the same size because I have a really cool idea of just covering up this frame with twigs. And of course, the redness of the maple is beautiful, but then all of the trees have different colors. Like willow has kind of a yellowish bark, and beech has a very gray bark, etc. And so what I did earlier is my granddaughter sent us a beautiful picture that she drew of a candy cane. So I decided I wanted to immortalize it because I'm so thrilled with her artwork and that she would send this to us. And so I simply took a bunch of twigs, and there's some beech and there's a lot of maple. You can see the red, and decorated the frame like this. So you can just take a cheap $1 frame from Walmart and make it into something beautiful with nature scraps. So I love the winter. I love the winter pause. I love the changes in the seasons. I love the seeming deadness and barrenness of the season because it's not true. There's so much life going on, and there's so many colors and textures and beauty to appreciate and enjoy. I wanted to share with you that I'm drinking for my wild tea today. I'm drinking hawthorn tea, which I had gathered in the fall after the first frost. And then I sweetened it with milkweed. So I have milkweed honey, which is really delicious from last summer. Oh, so good. It's good for your heart. All right, I would like to read to you a poem about winter that my friend Lumini Merced wrote. And it's something she's going to come to class and actually dance it for us because she's a dancer, and she wrote this amazing poem about all of the seasons, but I'm only going to read this stanza about winter. All right. Winter. The branches are bare, stark silhouettes against the sky. The seeds have dispersed and landed in their winter resting places where they will survive the harsh cold. The life force has descended down into the roots, which hold tenaciously to frozen rock and soil. Oh, trees, oh, plants, teach me to welcome deep slumber and stillness, to slow down enough to really rest and rejuvenate. Teach me to conserve my energy and resources, to honor the importance of hibernation. Teach me to get down, to go deep, to focus on what is essential, what lies at the core of me. O trees, O plants, teach me to be at ease with death, the unknown, the mysteries which guide the cycles of life. Teach me to be at peace with apparent nothingness and emptiness, even when I feel lost and I feel faint. Teach me to remember the hidden and dormant seeds in me, the potentials in me which remain unborn. This is what I learn from winter. So I can't wait for you to hear what she said about spring and summer and fall as well. But the winter is such a surprising time, and it's only seeming barrenness because the life is there just below the surface or behind the bark. And the beauty, I love the monochromes of winter. I think that the colors are stunning. You know, like you can look out over the trees, which seem bare with the lacery of their naked branches, but like I said, some of the barks are all different colors. You'll have the reds of the maples, and you'll have the grays of the beech and the birch, and you'll have the yellows of the willows, and there's just so many amazing things to observe. And then, so I was out shopping, and what I collected was just a bunch of hickory bark, which I love making into syrup and into as tea as well. It's high in magnesium and really has a smoky, sweet flavor. But I'm not just collecting this for food. I'm also collecting this to make ornaments, because I'm giving ornaments to, I'm having a bunch of little girls over from my neighborhood, and we're making not ornaments, but just decorations that they're going to be putting like on their refrigerator with magnets. And so this is a great thing to put the piece of, so what we did is put the clothespin on the back of the bark with a strong magnet, and then you can just put some green and a little bit of seed stalks or seed skeletons and a shell if you have them, and berries. And this is some juniper, and there's some evening primrose and some black-eyed Susans. Then this is going to be like a bird nest. All it is an acorn cap. So I can't wait to see what the kids do. And so I'll probably put together a slideshow of that next week for you to see. But I'm also going to be making more because I'm giving them as gifts. So you can find things like moss, and look at how beautiful these textures are, and the colors are so vibrant. And of course, I love the fact that the sumac is always still out there looking beautiful in red against the snow and against the blue skies. We've had a very mild winter so far. We've only had just a dusting of snow, but they're still out there looking really healthy. Of course, there's a lot of pine cones to be gathered. There's a lot of nuts still on the ground. The red oak tend to overwinter really well. The red oak acorns look like this because they don't sprout until the spring. And so you can gather these all winter, but the white oak ones will sprout as soon as they touch the ground. So you have to kind of get those back in September when they're dropping. So gathering those are fun. I got a whole bunch of these magnolia seed pods, which are really pretty. I have no idea what I'm going to do with them. But I do know that I'm not only going to be making more frames, but I'm also going to be making a twig wreath, which I've never done before. So if you've done that, send me a picture of what you have made. I've also loved collecting pieces of wood that are just sitting there saying, pick me. And so I have no idea what I'll do with this, but I've got a feeling it's going to be something special. If you've ever been to a wild food feast or come to my house for a foraging adventure, I always have one of you create a centerpiece, which is beautiful. And then we can have kind of like a center of the beauty. And it always changes, of course, week to week based on what's on nature's wave. So I found this piece of squared off wood in the woods. And I thought, you know what, this could be a really pretty, I can't wait to see what Maggie Russell does with this, or any of you that are so good with nature and creating. Of course, the berries are still out there. There's a lot of rose hips still to be had. I've even found some wild grapes out there. Yeah, so just keep your eye open, get out and be in nature, breathe in deeply all of the aromas and the fresh air, and just get out of the house, get outside and be recreated and restored and refreshed. Okay, so we're going to start off with a slideshow of last year's plant walks. So if you've been with me for any length of time, you know that I do plant walks almost weekly. I do befriending plants intensives. I do forage to feast, where we go foraging for our groceries and come back and cook it up into an amazing meal. And every Tuesday night, I have these free classes online. So there's a lot to Wild Blessings. And I just wanted to show you one small aspect tonight because I've been organizing my photos of 2022. And this is just the plant walks that we did this past year. So if you're interested in plant walks this coming year, let me know in the comments below if you'd be interested, if you live near me and having a plant walk on your land. We can talk about that, and let me know in the comments what your interests are. So this is just a focus on plant walks, and next week we'll talk about the befriending plants intensives that I do, which I think are the best thing that I do. So are you ready for it, Jace? Okay, so we had lots of fun. Sometimes the plant walk was just one person. Sometimes it'd be 15 or 20. And it doesn't matter to me. I just so enjoy bragging on God and his creation and introducing people to the plants that are free for their knowing and the picking. If you can know what plants God's provided for us for our food and for our medicine and for usefulness, it's really an empowering knowledge. And the more I learn, the more I know that I've got to learn more because there's never an ending amount. So Suzanne Shires is such an incredible herbalist. She's written some amazing books that I've highly recommended. She's also done the Go Forage card game, which is extremely popular, but her tree bingo sold out like that. So when she went ahead and paid for a whole nother set of these to be created, I just begged her to please send me one, and she did. So I took these with me babysitting the other night, and the kids loved it. So everybody gets a card like this, and this is the master list. And then you have a whole bunch of these cards that are just these trees right here. And so then you would just reach in and grab one. And so this is a persimmon. So then you would put that down there, and then each player would look on their card to see if they have a persimmon. And if they do, then they would take an acorn cap and put that over the top of the persimmon. And when you had 4 in a row, whether it's horizontal or vertical or diagonal or in the 4 corners, you say bingo. And so it's just a great way to learn your trees. And she's going to be doing them for bugs and insects and herbs and plants as well. We just took it a little step further, and we also took, since last year, the kids and I had made these really cute clothespins with all of the nature scraps for each tree. So this was an oak tree. So you can see the oak acorn, you can see the oak terminal buds of the twigs. And so if they got an oak, then they would, if they said bingo, they had to point out what each of their plants were based on these little things that I had over there. So that's another thing you can do, is they have to figure out which one of these goes with the tree. So if you know the tree, everything from its roots to its bark, to the shape of the tree, to its name, of course, to its leaf size and shape, and to its female and male parts, and its flowers and its seed pods and cones and all of that stuff, then you really have learned trees. And so there's always more to learn. But I was astonished that she picked some trees on here that I've never heard of. I don't know what a Franklin tree is. And that was one of them. So that she's been expanding my bucket list. She's always expanding my bucket list. I don't have any elms up here where I live, but I sure would love to have them. Let's see, there was a couple other ones I had never heard of. Cottonwoods is on here. I love cottonwoods. And this is about the time of year where you want to go out and get those buds. So if you've got cottonwoods near you, you want to get those. Balm of Gilead is another name for them. Buds of the cottonwood buds at this time of year, because they're really sticky and they have this amazing healing balm to them that you can make into a salve and an infused oil. So Pamela, I promise we will go this year. And so that's a fun thing to do. So there's always something to be foraging for. But if you don't have, if you're not on her list, she does a subscription where you get a new game every month, and she's got so many of them coming out. And that will help her to pay for having more of them processed and created. So that would be a good thing to do if you're homeschooling, or if you're just a kid on the inside and want to. But I learned best by playing games. When we homeschooled, I made a game up for everything, because that's just the way I like to learn. Okay, so I really recommend that. Another thing that we're going to be doing tomorrow, I'll be posting the encore class, will be on pine. And the very first class that I did in my kitchen because of COVID was pine. So it'll be funny to go back and see that. And it was so, I was so nervous, because talking to a camera is not my thing. I'd much rather have people here, but We talked on pine because pine, it was February the 2nd, 2021. And pine, the whole tree is probably the highest tree in nutrients and nourishment, and you can eat the whole thing. So I've got blogs written on that. I also love, I think this is a good class. It was my first one, so enjoy that, and I'll be posting that tomorrow. I also have, for my Patreon members, I have Pine Poems and Pine Crossword Puzzle, and our scripture for Pine is, "Great are the works of the Lord. They are studied by all who delight in them. Splendid and majestic are his works. He has made his wonders to be remembered." So when we befriend these plants, we're getting to know them and experience living with them and eating them and enjoying them and using them to better our lives and to steward them as well. And so it's an interesting story, the history of pine. One of the reasons why our country was even founded was because pine was here. And so pine was a huge part of the economy in the early settlers back in the with the Pilgrims, et cetera. And so you'll hear about that in my class. So watch that tomorrow. And what else? I wanted to share with you that winter, after the pine class, I'll be going into the winter pause. And so we did a couple of classes on that. That'll be encore classes that I think you'll enjoy a lot, because there's so much to do during the winter pause. And if you can get into the sync and the rhythms of the flow of what the seasons offer us, then you will be really blessed, because you can accomplish in the winter which you can't accomplish in the spring. And that is a pause, a time to kind of breathe and read. So next week, I'm going to be sharing with you some of the books I'm reading this winter. I would love for you to share in the comments what you're reading, and maybe we can inspire each other to read some of the books that we think are worthy of sharing. I think you'll be amazed at the books I'm reading. I'm so excited. In fact, this one particular book is honestly the book I would have written. Actually, I've been writing, and I'm thinking, why should I? This woman wrote this for me, and she did such a good job. So I'll be sharing that next week. And then I wanted to share one more thing. One of the things I think about when I think of winter is just a time of waiting. And in the mountains, sometimes it seems like spring takes a long time to come. Like, everyone wants to start planting before Mother's Day, and invariably it snows right before Mother's Day or even after Mother's Day. And so you kind of have to wait a little bit. And so waiting is kind of hard. It's difficult to do, but I think time in nature helps you to wait well and to wait with a good attitude, because you know it's coming and it's worth the wait. So I did a Bible study on literally all the verses in the Bible on wait. This is like 1/20th of them. And it was interesting. I wrote down, write down or highlight, who am I waiting for in yellow? What am I waiting for in purple? How am I to wait in green? How am I not to wait in orange? Why does God want me to wait in purple? What is the enemy or Satan waiting for in red? And also, what is God waiting for? So it's kind of an interesting way to do a Bible study. It looks very colorful when you're done. So if you're interested in this, I'll put the link to it in the comments below. It's just such an important thing, because we live in an instant society where we want everything yesterday. And the best things in life are worth waiting for. So I'll just read a few of the verses and just listen to the adjectives that describe the way God wants us to wait. Or actually, these are adverbs. Okay, so here's a really good one. Let's see. Wait for and confidently expect the Lord. Be strong and let your heart take courage. Yes, wait for and confidently expect the Lord. So wait with confidence. Here's a really cool one about getting up in the morning. In the morning, O Lord, you will hear my voice. In the morning, I will offer my prayer and a sacrifice for you, and I will watch and wait for you to speak to my heart. So there's a watchfulness about this waiting. It isn't a waiting in vain. It's like, I would have despaired unless I had believed that I would see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. So teach your kids when you're in a waiting season. Use winter as a object lesson maybe. But we're all waiting for something. And just look for God's goodness while you wait. And explore truth reflected in God's creation while you wait. Because then thankfulness will fill your heart and will replace discouragement. farmer learns to wait. He doesn't go dig up his seeds to see whether or not they're sprouting. If he did, he would ruin the harvest. So learning to wait and wait well. And I think learning God's word and really seeing what God's heart is about waiting is it's just revolutionary. So I will put that in the comments below if you guys want to join me in that Bible study. Okay, Jason, am I missing anything? I think that's it. Thank you all for those of you who support me on Patreon. If you want to join me, I'll be posting all of my classes for this coming year, 2023, February the 1st. And so this month of January, I was going to have classes, like all of these amazing classes on the oils in the Bible and consecrating with oils. And then I got to thinking, I really need to practice what I'm preaching. And what I'm preaching right now, guys, is this is a time to pause and to just wait and to become, work on your human being and not just being a human doing. Thank
And
you.
the audience goes wild. Yes. Oh, did we hear that? Yes. Oh, it's on record.
Okay, knock it
I
off.
recorded it. Oh,
Okay,
yes.
so he wasn't twisting my arm. I honestly felt convicted by that. Although, gosh, there's so many things I want to share. I really, really want to talk about wellness. And one of the books I'm reading right now talks about your brain and your brain health. And I'm thinking, oh, I got to share that. But it's like, no, it just needs to marinate for a while. And then these are all things that we'll get into, but there's a time for everything. So I will be posting those classes. If you're a Patreon member, you get significant reduction in my in-person classes in price. And also it really helps me to keep going. This is expensive to do this, and it's also just a lot of time, but it's a ministry of the heart. I love what I do, and I love being able to bless people, and being a Patreon member is a way to bless me and Max and Jason. So yes. Oh, another thing is I have become an affiliate with Amazon. So if I ever refer to something that I really like, that I use, like what's in this bag right now, I'll be talking a lot about tapping maples, but that's coming up really soon. So one of you is going to get this maple spile. I love these things, and they're so easy to use. I'll be teaching on that shortly when it's time. But that'll be free to somebody who wins. But if you want to get them, I'll just have them in the show notes so that you can click on the link. It won't cost you anything extra, and I get a little bit of something back from Amazon for promoting the products I believe in. So join me on that, and that would be a blessing as well. And don't forget to get Suzanne Shire's fantastic game, The Tree Bingo, from her GoForage.com is where you'll find these things. And I think that's it for now. God bless you, and I'll see you next week.